How lovely. Oh. So you guys building a drift car or race car whatsoever, it is highly recommended to rebuild your limited slip differential. So today we have one E30 large case limited slip differential which we are about to restore. Show you step by step a procedure how to do it, which parts are we going to use, prices of the parts, so you have a complete picture what is necessary for the complete rebuild and restoration, and how to do it by yourself. So this one will going to be restored from the inside and from the outside as well, and we might prepare some upgrade for the LSD unit itself, but you had already the chance to check those details on our previous video on your YouTube channel. So if you don't like your diff to be blown, then subscribe to our channel, like and share, and enjoy our video.
I just want a real deal. I just want a real stuff, honey. Oh yeah. I just want a real deal. I just want a real stuff, honey.
Just to show you, this right here, as you can see, a lot of metal particles, a lot of metal shreds. This indicates that this LSD unit is not in so good shape. So we're gonna continue opening now. Hope you can see this. So hope you're getting this. You see right here. So this inside of the LSD unit is completely broken. We're gonna see now if we can repair it with our parts. As you can see, so much mud is falling off. Differential is getting a bit tricky to work with. In normal conditions, these caps are popping out almost by themselves, but as you can see, this left one I can barely move. So I'm gonna need help of two big screwdrivers to remove them. Flip it on the side like this. And the right one is out. See, even right here, metal particles, metal shavings are visible even here at the side bearing, so definitely not a good sign. And as I always repeat you guys when I do differentials, if you don't gonna swap the carrier unit or swap different gear ratio, then you can avoid adjusting backlash and the tooth pattern and the gear patch. So you can do that simply by marking left and the right adjustment shim, which goes between the cap and the housing. So mark this one right and leave it like this here on the right side, so you'll know later that you don't mix them. Very important step. Just to clean this mess a bit so we can continue working. So to continue to remove opposite side cap. Some oil left. Just to clean this. And the left cap is removed as well. Same procedure for the shim. We're gonna mark it this one as left one and leave it on the left side, not to mix it. Some oil fell out in the meantime, and I'm gonna cover that. And you can now remove LSD unit. Here it is, so you can see it. Wow. Do you see this? This is nearly the worst differential I have ever seen on the first side. So we're gonna get more into this, beginning to enjoy it. Now you can see how noisy this thing really is. Okay, now we're gonna clean it from the oil boil before we remove the pinion gear. Be as clean as possible so you keep your hands healthy as much as you can. Since this is so dirty, we're gonna remove. Oh no. We're gonna remove the input flange nut right here on this cleaning table instead of right there because the diff is so dirty. We'll be back in a second. Put flange off. Return this nut and then to the hydro press. And here's the pinion gear. Wow, pinion bearing, large pinion bearing is so damaged you can barely spin it freely. I don't know if you can see this right here, but we're definitely going to take the pics of this bearing and show you guys in the video. So this looks amazing. Oil seal was so stuck from the rust, he wouldn't just pop out as usual. And now to inspect small bearing. Actually, small bearing is in better shape than the large pinion bearing, but this differential was obviously burned out. And now it's time to remove the bearing cones from the housing and get everything ready for the sandblasting. To the hydro press again. Wow. And now when you're pulled out all parts from the housing and the differential carrier unit inside, then we're going to show you how to prepare rest of the parts for the sandblasting, not to make any damage. So side caps, you need to gently remove this oil ring. We're going to put it right here with adjustment shims. Do that for both caps, of course, because when you sandblast both these parts, this can be damaged. Okay. You can actually leave the oil seals inside because they will prevent damage and erosion from the inner parts when the next new oil seal will come. So now work off the brake cleaner. Flanges as well. We are now degrazing these surfaces which we want to protect from the sandblasting. Actually, we need to degraze them so the paper tape can hold glued to this smooth surface. You have to pay attention that all those smooth surfaces where oil seals are coming through, you need to protect them from the sandblasting. If you sandblast those surfaces, most likely your differential will have problems with oil leak afterwards. Great. So all those parts are now ready for the sandblasting. And now we finish sandblasting and painting of the housing. So before we proceed to the next procedure, I'm gonna give you some tips regarding this part of the job. So as you see from the pictures and videos of the sandblasting, we made some plastic fills or caps, whatever you like to call them, to blank some holes that sand shouldn't penetrate. So like this one. Here goes the oil seal from the input shaft. That part shouldn't be sandblasted because it will damage the sealing surfaces. And this one for the side oil seals as well. So I'm going to remove them to show you how they look like. Here they are. I pressed out a little bit harder. Simple plastic caps like this. You can make those locally. I can tell you we paid about 10 euros to produce those caps. Quite useful from the plastic, so quite cheap and useful if you're gonna take care of any other differential. It's not a big investment. So here they are, we don't need them anymore. They did their job with this differential, and now we're gonna continue the procedure of the cleaning and finishing up the housing. We're gonna clean it from the leftovers of the sandblasting and painting. Clean it well, because if you don't clean it from the sand particles, the last one needs to go out. If you don't clean the housing from the sandblasting, then your bearings won't last long. So do this carefully. We're gonna continue now to show you how to do it properly. So now when you finish everything, you're ready to assemble the bearing set and the oil seal set right here. Starting with side caps. First you need to remove all bearing cones from the side cap. I'm going to show you now how to do it. If you don't have a special tool made to remove those bearing cones, you can use inner cone from the small pinion bearing that you removed from the old differential. It fits like this, and then to the hydro press to press it out. Like this. Old pinion or old bearing cone, sorry. And to unpack the bearings and the oil seal set, so you have 4 bearings, 3 oil seals and 1 crush sleeve. We can begin with pressing in side bearing cones. So you can use old bearing cones to press in new bearing cones. So you finish with pressing in the bearing cones. Now to press in oil seals. Side oil seals. When you're pressing new oil seals inside the caps, we always use some sealant compound on this surface, just in case. Side, other one, and now we have a special tool for this when we are doing differentials for other customers, but this is do-it-yourself video, so we are doing what with the tool that you can have as well. So old bearing cone which fits is good enough. Again to the press. When you check from the inside. Here is better light. Just this hole for oiling the side oil seals. You shouldn't go with the oil seal to cover that hole. Hole should be like this. So don't go with the oil seal over the hole, because you will block oiling of the side bearing and lose it really soon. Next one. Like this. And the final part, don't forget to return these oil rings back, because otherwise your differential may leak. Do not use brake cleaner on those, because you don't know which material are they from and are they resistant to the cleaner. So just clean it with the paper. Now you're ready to begin to assemble the housing, beginning with bearing cones. Small pinion bearing, new cone, like this. Again, you can use old bearing cone that you pulled out from the differential before disassembling. Large pinion bearing cone, and don't forget the shim under it. And again, old bearing cone to press it in. Now you pretty much finished what you can do at the moment. So to move this aside, and now to begin with the large pinion bearing. Need to remove this one and replace it with the new one. So if you don't have special tools available like we do, then you can do it with a hand grinder. We're gonna show you how. And now to press the new bearing on the pinion shaft. You can use some pipe as a tool. Yeah. This is good. Visually check those surfaces right here. It's okay. And you have your pinion ready for the installation. And now to put the pinion inside the housing. So new crush sleeve from our bearing kit. Check. And this part is a bit tricky if you're doing only by yourself, if you don't have any help. So to the hydro press. Pretty tricky part. You need to hold it with your hand, then new small bearing up, and now while you're pressing down the small bearing, you will get to the crush sleeve at one point. Then it is important to check the free play between two bearings by moving this housing up and down. You need to leave a small amount of free play, so you can tighten crush sleeve precisely. Don't press it all the way down because you will destroy the crush sleeve. So you see the amount of free play that I left here. We began to press the crush sleeve. Rest we will do on the pinion nut bolt. But before we continue to tighten the pinion, we need to put oil seal. So clean this surface with a brake cleaner. Again, just in case something went in, and sealing compound. Very thin layer is really enough. Over the top. Oh, sorry. And a hammer. And that's it. visually check the gate level and remove unnecessary amount of cement component. That's it. Input flange, and tightening of the pinion is something that amateurs fear the most, and we're gonna reveal all secrets how to tighten pinion properly, so you can really do this by yourself. Into the clamp, tighten it good, goes really hard, and don't forget to check for the free play each time you tighten the nut. Again, free play check. And now it's important to take your time. Don't rush the procedure, step by step. Still small amount of free play, so again tightening. Another 10 degrees. Still free play. Check again. Still small amount of free play, a tiny one, micro free play, and I'm gonna tighten the nut for 5 degrees more, and then check with the torque wrench for the pinion torque resistance. I'm gonna need bigger lever for this. And now time to measure pinion torque resistance. No more free play. And we show this procedure quite few times back in our older videos, but we can show you again. You need a torque wrench which is measuring from 0 to 5 Newton meters, really precise one. Put it on the pinion, input shaft, input flange, and then spin it around and measure how much resistance you get. Torque resistance for this 188mm differential is in the description of the video. Go below and check for the torque resistance. We do it for this one 0.6 to 0.8 Newton meters without carrier unit inside. A little more, it increased. but still not enough. Let's aim to the 0.8 Newton meters. Again, this is a torque spec for the pinion, but without carrier unit inside. Now something changed. Let's check with a torque wrench. Feels good now. 0.5. We need to add maybe one more tightening to get from 0.5 to 0.8. And now looks okay. It is 0.7, 0.8 Newton meters. So we can leave it like this. Finish the tightening of the pinion nut and moving on to the LSD carrier unit. And guys, now we got to the part with the LSD carrier unit itself. We're gonna open it, clean it and replace some clutch plates and assemble it again. So beginning with this speed sensor, we need to remove it because we're gonna change this bearing right here, so we're removing it. And cap. Need to hammer those bolts first before you try to untighten them, because they're glued factory. And the head is really gentle, so but before we continue to do the mess, just some layer of brake cleaner. This will be enough. So, to explain, if you manage to go over with the Allen key, Then you need to use this tool, like a sharp star. Hammer it down and then unscrew the bolt. You can reuse the bolts again. So now we're ready to remove the cap. To check internals. LSD cap with shims. Oil shim is alive, which is good. First half. Clutch plates. Actually, a clutch plate. Door gear plate. Preload shim and pressure plate. Actually looks quite good. This differential is not so bad inside as it looked when we opened it first, but that was luckily just metal shreds from destroyed pinion bearing, so rest of the components are alive and in good shape. But since we are doing a complete rebuild, oh, not this one, sorry, I went to conclusion too early. So this clutch plate is actually completely destroyed, as you can see right here. Heavy signs of wear, and on pressure plate as well. So we're gonna need to grind this pressure plate and use our ramp saver shim, as we explained in some of our previous videos. Do not return this, do not assemble differential with the surface on the pressure plate like this. This is really important, because if you do, if you assemble the pressure plate and the new clutches with this surface like this, hope you are getting this, then you will have your new clutch plates which you paid destroyed almost immediately. So do not do this, do not assemble this in the unit again. You need to take this to a machine shop and put it on the flat surface grinder, magnetic grinder, and smooth it up. Grind this down for 0.25 to get this back to be smooth like this one again. Continue with the disassembly. Another pair of shims and another preload washer, preload ring, and this 4mm thick washer. This was the last one in the row. When you're installing our stage 1 kit, then you're going to remove this shim. You will no longer need it. So remove this 4mm thick shim if you're installing our stage 1 kit. If you're just servicing the differential and putting everything back with a 2 clutch pack, our service pack, then you will use this again. But as we are putting in our stage 1 clutch pack, we will no longer need this shim. And now this is ready to be washed and cleaned and assembled again with all new parts and clutch plates, door gear plates, and so on. And now it is time to wash all components carefully. And before we assemble the unit, to remove all the bearings, to replace them with new ones. Here's the one from the cap, and another one from carrier unit. And to show you some hat trick how to remove this bearing easily without any special tools, use cross pins that you have from the unit like this, and two levers to help you. Easy as it looks. Pressing in new bearings, again hydro press, and you can use old bearing to press new in. Alright. And switching to our production department to use a surface grinder, so we can grind the pressure plates, damaged pressure plates for 0.25 millimeters, so we can use ramp saver shim. As I explained in the workshop, you shouldn't assemble differential with damaged pressure plates. So I'm going to enter now to our production department to show you the procedure of grinding down pressure plates. And now moving on to installing stage 1 clutch pack by RacingDiffs. You have detailed video of unboxing and all components in our previous video. If you haven't seen it already, then I suggest you to check the video tag, suggested video tag right here, and watch that video. It will be explained what do you get from stage 1 clutch pack, how to install it properly, and what's the most important is what benefits do you get when you purchase stage 1 clutch pack. So moving on. And 3 clutch pack with perforated clutch plates for improved cooling. If you drive your car on the track, that's a must-have. And we are back in the workshop. After grinding down the pressure plates, we finally got this surface back to be smooth again. So we are able to continue with assembly. First things first is to lubricate all parts well before we put them together. This will provide a break-in free period, so it's quite important to do that. And we can now begin with the small shims. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you don't need 4mm thick spacer to install our stage 1 clutch pack, so we can remove that. I started with a flat shim on the bottom of the diff. And a small preload shim facing like this. One shim. Then one preload shim, big one. Facing this direction. And then spider gear. Another dog ear plate, sorry. Another clutch plate. And a pressure plate. Make sure it fits all the way down through both clutch plates, because now it has two plates on that side. And before we put the final preload shim back, there goes ramp saver shim to cover that material loss that we did on the surface grinding, to get back smooth surface of the pressure plates. And it's like this, and at the end cap. Small spring shim again this way. And to the hydro press. Don't forget to put the speed sensor back. finally returning everything back as it was. And remember those shims, right to the right side and left to the left side. These holes for oil goes up. We use sealant compound on these two bolts because holes are straight through, so oil can exit right there. And now at the very end it is time to talk about prices and expenses to rebuild the differential like this. So I'm going to explain all parts, all prices and all expenses that we have to rebuild the differential. So sandblasting and painting all outside components, 30 euros, but that depends on your position and what you can find locally. So let's say 30 to 50 euros for that. Then bearings and oil seals, you have a set for 188mm differential listed on our website. Price is 217 euros. For the LSD unit itself, upgrade to stage 1 clutch pack with 3 clutches on our website, 240 euros. Then the small part speed sensor holder in red color listed on our website, price is 19 euros. And at the end, those small plastic caps used to protect the housing from sandblasting, the parts which shouldn't be sandblasted. Plastic caps, local machine shop, 10 euros. So those are all expenses for the parts and for the labor what you cannot do yourself. You have all parts, you have all prices, and that's about it. We really gave our best to try to show you complete step-by-step process how to restore and upgrade E30 188mm LSD. Hope you guys learned something, hope you enjoyed, hope we encouraged you to try to do the job by yourself actually after seeing this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. If you don't subscribe, then your differential might blow. Joke on the side, hope you like this content. Write us, send us email, visit our website at RacingDiffs.com for the further info. And if you have any further questions, wishes for the next video, please leave a comment below after you subscribe, of course, and stay with us. Thanks for watching.